It's the giveaway. It's the giveaway. So first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for everybody for liking and subscribing and commenting on these videos, because that's ultimately what keeps this channel going. We're getting bigger and bigger and bigger as this company grows, and so we're gonna give away something even bigger this time. It's time to give away a PSE bow. All you guys have to do to win this thing is the same thing that you've been doing. Like and subscribe to our channel, like every video, and comment. And you can comment as many times as you want. And when we go through and we pick, the more comments that you have or the more likes that you have, along with being subscribed to this channel, only improves your odds of winning this bow. We're literally giving someone a free bow, okay? Just to like and subscribe this video. So if you guys are interested in free stuff, and you didn't win this bow this time around, you didn't win these Vortex binos, you're still entered. Just stay engaged with the channel, keep liking the videos, keep commenting on them, and it's gonna help you win maybe trail cameras in the future, tree stands, things like that. Today, we're gonna go over a topic that is going to be useful for any of you that are looking to plant soybeans in the near future. Let's face the facts. It's late winter, early spring right now, and we're gonna start planting those spring food plots. And I think you should definitely think about planting a spring food plot if you're looking to hold deer on your property throughout the entire year. There are certain food plots that you can plant that are more palatable than others during certain times of the year, and soybeans can absolutely be one of them. I've said it a couple videos, I'm gonna say it again. I hear a lot of guys saying, if you have the summer food, you're not gonna have the deer on your property in the fall. It could be nothing further from the truth, because if your summer food makes it long enough, then it's gonna be there in the late season. And in the case of soybeans, if you have soybeans late in the season, it's possibly the most palatable food source at that point of the season. So having soybeans or some sort of spring plot is detrimental, necessary, and absolutely something you should look to do on your property, and along with some diversity. But let's say that you went to go and create these soybean plots, and it's something that maybe I recommend to a lot of clients in the right areas with the right scenario, but you didn't take all the prior precautions and now your soybeans failed. Well, let's talk about why they failed first. Could be drought. In the spring, we don't tend to see that too often. It does happen though. Maybe you didn't fence off like you're supposed to. A lot of guys will fence off their soybeans, and I 100% recommend it. I talked with a client today here in Southern Illinois, and we talked about how, if we really want your food plot to meet the optimum growth potential that it can meet, you should probably fence them off to keep the deer off them in the summer. Yeah, I get it. It could be a little cost effective, or take a little bit of money to do these things and to accomplish these goals and get the fencing up. But if you're that diehard guy who's trying to get the deer off your neighbor's property, it's probably something you have to do. There's a couple other ways you can keep deer off those soybeans using a product called Milorganite. Milorganite, a biosolid fertilizer made from human waste, but it's heat treated at a high temperature and ultimately safe for you to use. Obviously, I'd still recommend washing your hands or however you want to take care of that issue once working with it, but you can apply it. It works as a fertilizer. So let's say you didn't do any of those things, and hopefully when you watch this video now, before you plant, you did do these things, because then you're not going to have failed soybeans. Well, what do we do now? Because, Brett, my soybeans failed. The deer annihilated them. We had a drought. I'm screwed. I can't have soybeans now this year. Maybe, maybe not. I've talked about this in another video, and it's very possibly one of my favorite things to plant in the fall is soybeans in the late summer. Everybody thinks about planting them in the early spring because that's when a farmer were to plant them. And although you might be a farmer, we're also farming for deer, and we have to think about a time during the year in which those soybeans can be super palatable to the whitetails, and that's when they're green. But now if we have failed soybeans, it might be a blessing in disguise, because you can replant them, okay? Whether it's June or July, or even into August, you can replant those soybeans, and they might not get mature enough to produce a pod, but they will be super palatable for these deer, and they'll stay greener longer into the season. And think about when you drive around in the summer, guys, what are you seeing? You're seeing all these deer out in the soybean fields, and if you see deer in the soybean fields then, because they're green, well, you're gonna be the only guy on the block with green soybeans. So there are reasons in why you want to plant soybeans in the spring. You're going to get a better yield, you're going to get more growth, you're going to have more browse. But if it fails, it's not the end all be all. And you can still plant soybeans again. Now, obviously there's other things you can plant and should plant, because we're always looking for diversity. But you can go back and you can plant these soybeans. And depending on the maturity rate of the soybean, which is different for every blend, egg soybean, forage soybeans, there's a lot of different things that we can get into, you know, in some other videos. But ultimately replanting those soybeans is an option. You know, just because they failed doesn't mean you can't have grain now. And in fact, that's one thing I would recommend doing. Maybe you go back in with that fall planting and it's just soybeans, or maybe you mix it in with that green blend that you got off the shelf from your local store. Hopefully it was a good green blend with a high germination rate and not a bunch of inert matter. Read the back of the labels, what I'm getting at. Didn't have a bunch of inert matter and ryegrass and you know, just a bunch of grass seed in it. It was a good green blend, and you can mix it in with that, and you can broadcast that down and cultipack it. And ultimately you can still have green soybeans later in the year and just have soybeans even though your spring food plot failed. So that's something to keep in mind. If those soybeans fail, guys, you still have options. You can still get grain in the ground and still produce grain for the deer. A lot of guys like to hunt grain or grain and green, and you know, have the diversity, and you can still do that if your spring food plot ends up failing. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind, guys. So when it does fail, you still got options. If you guys like these videos, if you're looking for more tips on how to kill bigger bucks, get more bigger bucks on your property, grow bigger deer, have better food plots, do timber stand improvement in your neck of the woods, like and subscribe. If you like and subscribe to these videos, guys, you give yourself a chance of winning some of our giveaways that we're always doing. And it's also helping us out. So we're dropping 2 videos a week. And if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and comment below. Maybe give us some more ideas as to topics that we could talk about that you're interested in. And that's all we got for you today. So we'll catch you on the next one.